don't sleep on Bacopa Monnieri. Don't sleep on it. I actually mean don't put it in your bed. Don't put Bacopa flakes on your bed and sleep on it. Don't do that. It's actually one of the most well-studied nootropics there are, been around for the longest time, and it does do a lot of impressive shit. Now, I would argue that you can get an acute effect, an acute benefit from just dosing it one time, but the real benefits of Bacopa Monnieri come from dosing it over time on a consistent basis, and we're going to talk about it, my friends. Okay, for a short period of time, meaning this special is ending, so you've got to get on now. This is the last chance to get the Torque Nootropic Stack, buy one, get one free. I mean, get your hands on one of the most purchased nootropic stacks on the internet that is very noticeable and will give you productivity and mental energy. Code for that is torquebogo. You can do it in the description of this video or at livecortex.com. Last chance. This ends this week. There are no more chances, and we only run these twice a year, maybe 3 times a year. torquebogo right now, special is ending. Get it done. So probably the biggest question in all of the world of nootropics is, what can I take every day? Can I take this every day? Can I take that every day? And sure, there's lots of things you can take daily. Alcar is one of them. Oxiracetam is another. Ataracetam is another. But one of the safest, most well-studied, and most clinically proven to be effective nootropics that you could take daily that somehow is underrated is Bacopa Monnieri. Don't sleep on it. Don't actually sleep on it, like I said. But don't forget how effective this nootropic is. Let's just talk about effects right away so that you guys understand what you can expect from taking Bacopa. Memory improvement, okay? Short-term memory improvement, likely the ability to reference information from your long-term memory and serve it up into your brain, which in fact translates to verbal fluency. So, I mean, if you just take Bacopa every day, you're gonna have better memory. So everything that you do regarding your brain, you're sitting down working on your laptop, you're doing any kind of productive work, you're going to be more cognitively effective at doing that. There is some degree of mild stimulation when taking Bacopa Monnieri because it does interact with the enzyme that breaks acetylcholine down called acetylcholine esterase. Now, this is why you should not sleep on Bacopa Monnieri, figuratively and literally. I'm going to take you to a paper titled Efficacy of Standardized Extract of Bacopa Monnieri on Cognitive Functions of Medical Students. I mean, if anybody's like a good sample size to test things on, it would be people that need to use their brain pretty like a lot, and medical students are one of those people. God bless them. They gave these guys a mere 150 milligrams. So this is why people think I'm crazy when I say you can dose it at 300 and get an effect daily. And their results were statistically significant improvement was seen in the tests relating to cognitive functions with the use of Bacopa Monnieri. Now, one of the main mechanisms of action is the regeneration and the enhancement of neurites. Okay, neurites. Neurites have 2 classes of sort of neuronal branches in them. One would be axons and the other would be dendrites. These are the communicative branches between neurons. And the primary functional components in Bacopa Monnieri are these things called bacosides. And the bacosides regenerate synapses and repair damaged neurons, thereby making it easier to learn and remember new information. Bacosides A and B improve the transmission of impulses between the neurons. This is why I say that people shouldn't sleep on Bacopa, because like everyone's looking for like, I don't know, dihexa to repair some brain thing that's happening, or maybe I should take 9-MeBC, or maybe I should take, another neurogenesis agent. Sometimes you'll get away with just taking Bacopa and it aids the issue. I mean, this is time-tested, well-known, super well-studied, dates all the way back to Ayurveda. The Ayurvedic medicine people really knew what was up. Bacopa is an Ayurvedic nootropic compound. Now, here's the thing. Chronic effects. The chronic effects. So after continuously dosing Bacopa Monnieri is really what you're looking to achieve and is your better bet to get positive effects. Chronic effects of Bacopa when assessed on memory functions in 76 adults from age 40 to 60 for 3 months showed significant effects on retention of new information. I mean, some of the studies on Bacopa Monnieri are in normal people, healthy, normal individuals, but some also relate to attention deficit hyperactivity disorder children, some of which are ongoing, and those studies are actually pretty interesting, where there's benefit. Now, one thing to note about Bacopa for those of you concerned about or maybe wanting to optimize serotonin, I'll take us to a paper titled The Effectiveness of Bacopa Monnieri as a Nootropic, Neuroprotective, or Antidepressant Supplement. analysis of the available clinical data, where a couple authors, a couple scientists did an analysis, sort of a meta-analysis of all the available literature on Bacopa monnieri, and came to find that in one study, Bacopa monnieri was able to potentiate the beneficial effects of citalopram. Now, that is a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, basically a serotonergic drug, an antidepressant drug. And what they do, the serotonin drugs, is they inhibit the SERT, the serotonin transporter. So it just keeps more serotonin around in that acute period for you to use. I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'd actually lean more toward that being bad. But the reason that Bacopa aids that drug in being more effective probably is because it reduces tolerance to the drug via upregulating the serotonin transporters. So Bacopa monnieri does upregulate the serotonin transporters. What that means is your brain is going to be more equipped to take serotonin, remove it from the synapse, recycle it for later, but then bring it back into use when needed. And that's a balanced homeostatic state of serotonin, and that's what you want. Here's another paper, The Neurocognitive Effects of Bacopa monnieri and Cognitive Training on Markers of Brain Microstructure in Healthy Older Adults. Again, this is not people with dementia. They go, an increase in ODI with a decrease in MD and ND in the Bacopa monnieri group may indicate an increase in network complexity through higher dendritic branching accompanied by dendritic pruning to enhance network efficiency. If you want to understand what those acronyms are, go read, this paper. But effectively, again, increasing dendritic function, axons and dendrites so that neurons can communicate better with one another. Let's talk about dosing. So again, we have a study where we've got 150 milligrams given to medical students over the course of 4 weeks or something, and then there was cognitive improvement. It really doesn't take all that long to start noticing improvement with Bacopa monnieri. You're talking about 2-3 weeks to a month. However, what I think is people should be taking it ongoingly and long term if they're having memory deficits or would like to improve in that area, as well as verbal fluency and just generally neuronal axon dendrite repair. And a good starter dose for that, just a good daily dose, isn't even 500 milligrams, in my opinion. 500 milligrams a day. Just get some bulk Bacopa powder, or if you can find a Bacopa supplement that's 500 milligrams per capsule, just take that every day. You will notice increased memory, increased verbal fluency, a better ability to retain new information and encode that information into your memory. This all matters for some of us that do work which requires us to use our brains. I think for people that do, work which requires sustained attention, Bacopa is really, really helpful. As an example, in the last year, I started a web development firm in Pittsburgh. It's just something I love doing, and I have a lot of free time. Most of Cortex Labs is automated. And, when I'm building websites for businesses, I'm sitting for 6 or 7 hours or more focusing and putting things together and having to hand code stuff that may be messed up in a plugin on WordPress or something. I'm having to identify bugs and try to resolve those. There's just a lot of complex compartmentalized thinking that goes into building websites, and Bacopa helps me do that. I take Bacopa somewhat regularly. By the way, link in the description for my web development company. Anybody needs a website, a guy. Everybody needs a web guy, you have a guy. I've got a web agency in Pittsburgh. Anything that it is that you do which requires your brain to be pretty functional and on point, Bacopa is going to aid it. If you're a programmer, Bacopa is going to aid your functionality. If you're a worker that works at a conveyor belt type situation, like an assembly line, but there's cognition that has to go into making all that work and doing your element of the production line, Bacopa will aid in your functionality in that context. Studying, all right. If you're a college student, again, we actually have studies in medical students, probably the most cognitively demanding student sample group that there is medical students. If you're studying, it wouldn't hurt, and it would help greatly to add 500 milligrams Bacopa monnieri to your regimen every day. Just throw it down with your morning regimen, preferably with a multivitamin, multi-mineral complex. Then you've got everything you need for good brain function. Copywriters, marketers, any type of entrepreneur, because in the land of entrepreneurship, we've got to use our brain pretty significantly. Bacopa is going to benefit. Bodybuilders, right? You've got to be focused on your sets and your PRs, and the mental game is actually pretty important in addition to having sufficient androgens, to hit PRs and to actually build muscle. Bacopa is a highly effective, very underrated, extremely well studied, dates all the way back to Ayurveda nootropic compound that quantifiably will improve through repairing dendrites and axons, network efficiency in your brain, and make your brain perform better. All right, guys. This is the last chance to get Torque buy one, get one free. I mean, this is stimulation all day. You want to take a nootropic stack that you actually notice, that you're like, is it placebo? Am I noticing it? No. You will notice Torque. Instant energy, motivation, the drive to do work. You feel like you're alive again. Zest for life. Sex drive increases for a lot of guys via the dopaminergic action. Look, all in one nootropic. Buy one, get one free right now. The code for that is torquebogo, and the link and the code is in the description of this video. This special ends this week. Get on it now. Also, I want to say, if you need to book me for a one-on-one, for a month, for TRT protocol optimization, we've got targeted email advice, consultations, erectile dysfunction, other nootropics packages, the bigger 90-day or 180-day one-on-one packages. I'm coming up on busy season, so I will be booked on these, and they will literally be disabled on the web. You're not going to be able to book with me on the website. Okay. So if you want to get in, now is the time to do it. Some of you business people, now that this is the end of the year, this might be the time via tax purposes to try to write this off and get on a consultation with me. Anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry early Christmas. And I'll talk to you soon.